with the drone. Nice, Dad. Got a fishing rod, even though I didn't have to use that. Got a padlock on the end there, which I was going to launch over. I didn't have to. I let the wind take its natural course, and it blew out of the tree. But what I will say is about, which is quite an amusing story actually, with the police. Obviously my drone has just come out of the tree, but when it was in there originally at about, I don't know what the time was, about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Nice everybody. Hello mate.
Well, I've got my phone now, I've got used to it.
Getting it wet now. I don't blame you, mate. Anyway, the drone was up the tree, right? It had been there about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Anyway, the green light stopped flashing in the end. I'm down there with my rods and that, trying to poke it out of the tree, and the police car swoops in. The police car swoops in with 2 coppers. I just looked at them, gone and laughed. So then we drones up a tree. They've gone, oh right, we've had a call from somebody saying that I've just been flying my drone over the school there. And I said to the police, well, once I get the drone out of the tree, I'll show you where I've been. And to be honest, it's been up the tree for 3 hours. Anyway, the police was fine with that. They could see I wasn't doing anything. Actually tried assisting me. But anyway, as I was talking to the police, this posh bloke's come out, right? This posh bloke's come out, and he's gone to me, what was it he said? He said, oh, them green lights are out then. I said, yeah. I said, are you the guy that's called the police and said I've been flying over the school? And he said, yeah, I'm flying all over the village. And I said, and? He said, what are you doing? He said, what are them green lights? I said, well, the green lights, it's just come into effect in law on the 1st of January. Anyway, I told him this. I told him that. And he said, oh, has that camera got a video on it then? I said, yeah. He said, watch him fly over my house, take videos. I said, well, not particularly, mate. I said, not particularly. I said, he's got the capability. And he said, well, you're not allowed to do that. I said, I can do that. And the policeman looked at me, and I said, I can do that. I said, I'm acting within all my authorities, flying around. I'm all legal. And the police agreed with me. And I said to this little posh bloke in the end, I said, just because you come out and bullshitted, mate. Do you know what he said to the police? He said, well, we hear about all those nasty drones, don't we? And I said to him, I said, just because you said that, pal, I'm going to be back later with my drone. I'm going to fly it all over your place, and I might even take a few pictures. Don't think he liked that one. But yeah, I said I haven't actually. I said I've been up that tree for 3 hours. My drone's up the tree, and I said, to be honest, if I wanted to fly over that school, not that I'm really into flying over schools, I could have done it at that time. And I said I went to that school. So did my dad, and so did my granddad. I said to him, what school did you go to? And he just gave me a sheepish look because he's a posh bloke. And to be honest, now that's ground my nerves a bit. I might start doing a few more of these videos, but we'll record them where people just come out and quote complete bollocks. What's that green light? I said, well, the green light, let me educate you. And the policeman and the police girl were just standing there, letting me tell him. Crazy, eh? Crazy. Anyway, drone's in the bag. Little service, and we'll be flying over his posh place tonight. He said, I've seen you up in the sky, zooming around. I said, yeah, and? He said, what are you doing out here now? I said, and? I said, I can come out anytime I want and fly around. Crazy. It's crazy when they come out and accuse you of flying over places, and you don't realise that the actual drone and the controller actually records exactly where I've been, and at no point I flew over there. Crazy, eh? But I did tell him, just because he come out and said, oh, well, you hear all about them bad drones, don't you? I said, no. I said, I don't hear about the bad drones. I said, you're just you're stereotyping me. I said, just with the police there as well. I said, just because you've done that, I'll be back later with my drone. Fly it all over, which I'm going to do. Crazy, eh? Boom, meth. I don't know, mate. I think you're chatting bollocks. Anyway, yeah, I've got to get a GoPro for the thing. But the policeman was alright, the police lady. I was trying to think of ideas to help me get the drone down. It's a big worry off my brain. No, I'm not British at all. I'm not British. I'm English. I'm not British. I'm English, Irish and Spanish. I wouldn't want to be British. Right, we've got the battery that pinged out. All my green flashing lights need fixing. But the drone's perfect. Same thing to a yank. Well, you're wrong. There you go. It's probably because I've got Southern Irish blood as well as English. So I'm hardly going to be representing Britain. Yeah. Hello anyway. I'm glad that's all right. I can't believe that posh little bloke come running out. He probably thought, oh, why aren't they taking him away? They seem to be helping him out there. And he come out and started accusing me of having a video camera on my drone. And I said, yeah. I said, it takes videos as well. What a brain dead. The policewoman and man were just, because I'd already clued them up on the drone legislation until he come out, they just let me deal with it. The bloke went in after I pissed him off, I think, and then the police said, well, we can see you're not doing anything dodgy here, Phil. We got no worries. We'll see you later. And they went off, the policeman. See, that's what... But he did come out, he said, oh, well, he looked at the policeman and said, oh, well, you hear about all them bad drones, don't you? I said, no. I said, you're just fucking stereotyping everyone. I said, just for that. And I even said to the coppers after he'd gone, you know what I mean? You knew what he was all about. Laying tarmac. What's that, some kind of Irish joke? Anyway, fucking hell, that was a sweaty one. Driving up a tree, I've got to fix the back door there. I've had a little bit of an impact, but that's all fixable, man. There's nothing major there. That might be an issue. I might have to buy a new arm. I can possibly fix that. But I believe that's where the indicators are. Might have to have surgery on the drone. Crazy. Then again, it's been blown out of a tree, do you know what I mean? My prediction was right. I was watching the gust of wind. But he said, "Oh, you've kept me awake." I said to the old Bill, all he can see is a green fucking flashing light. I mean, what's he doing, looking out the window? Fucking morons about. Big posh guy, man. Big posh house. Trying to flex his muscles at fucking 5 in the morning. Fucking... what a fucking palaver. Anyway, I tried all sorts up that tree. I think one of the good things was I actually landed in the tree. I didn't crash into the tree, so to speak. I think the only damage I've done is when it's blown out of the tree. What's that? Huh. Oh. At least we got the drone back. As I was saying earlier, I'm lucky it's not a flyaway. You get some that just fly away, never to be seen again. Anyway, we're going to be playing a bit of music, a few two-tone tunes, once I've cooled down a bit. Can't believe he called the police out and they swooped in. I thought, what's this about? But they were fine. Crazy. Don't know what the posh bloke was thinking. It's alright, I'll go down a bit lower tonight. Right over his roof. Because what I told him was, as the law stands, and the Civil Aviation Authority, who own the skies, I pilot a Class 0 drone, and I'm allowed in A1 category. I'm in the A1 category, which is, I can fly as near to houses as I like. I can fly over anything I want within reason. I can record people that are not even in my video. Yeah, I'm in the small category. Obviously, the bigger your drone and you go up, the less you can do, but don't fly over you. Well, like I said to the guy, he said, "Oh, you're going to be looking in my garden?" And I said, "Well, no, not particularly." Crazy. And then he said, "What did you say?" "Oh, it records then?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, legally." Crazy. But I tell you what, now I know this happens, I'm probably going to encounter it quite a bit, and it's quite common with drone flyers. So what I'm going to do is get a GoPro, just in case we get some crazy guy come out one night, gets a bit leery, and I might have to push him in a bush or something, do you know what I mean? In self-defence, of course, but obviously that's how you'd prove the self-defence. because you don't know all these psychos out there. But just wasting the police's time. The police, after he went, he said, "Oh, you're all right, Phil. We'll just leave you here. We can see that you're not doing anything wrong." I said, "No." But it's just, it was a posh guy, do you know what I mean? He said, "You kept me awake with that green light." I went to the police. What, so he's looking out the window? I thought he was trying to get to sleep. The green light won't make a noise. Anyway, I've got to make a cup of tea because that's all just been crazy. But as soon as I said to him, I fly a class 0 drone and I'm in category, basically the A category, where I can go wherever. He said, "What do you think that green light is?" I said, "I'll tell you what it is." I said, "Since the 1st of January this year, legally we've got to have them." It's just your average British problem. Well, I think it's going to be for me. And to be honest, I don't know whether people would go to this. I've seen it on YouTube where people have gone to the extent of trying to interfere with the pilot, which is actually a CIA criminal offence to interfere with a drone pilot in the UK. So if anyone comes up and tries interfering with you, that's a serious offence. Yeah. Telling me that I just flew over the school. I said to the police, I said, "It's been up there 3 hours." I said, "How about when I get the drone back, we'll have a look, see exactly where I've been." And the guy went all sort of like that. I don't realise it because this here, my DJI controller, just records everything, basically. The CIA, no, the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority. It's who runs our skies. The same people that run the aeroplanes control me. That's who my licence and that's with. Obviously, I'm allowed up to 120 metres. Above 120 is where the aeroplanes are, but I still get some come down. But I've also got other vehicles that are in my airspace, hang gliders, things like that. The KGB, no. The CIA got good drones. And happy Saturday to you. Yeah, big drones, but I'll tell you what, that little drone I've got is well quick. I fear that I broke it, one of the arms, I think. But you can buy all arms and stuff. I might be able to patch it up. But anyway, I'll catch you all a bit later.